talking about here on my channel right now. It's all about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's.
Hi besties, welcome to my channel. First off, all like and subscribe this channel for more early news about Blake Lively and hers problem. I'm Las Hari. Corvanta opened with its usual fast-moving energy, bringing viewers into another packed update focused on the escalating Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni legal battle. Las Hari began by saying he had all the news ready for everyone's Corvanta ride to work, setting the tone for a show that mixed courtroom developments, celebrity gossip, media analysis, and personal commentary. He explained that the biggest issue dominating discussion right now was the possible length of the upcoming trial, which according to new court updates may stretch for weeks. That possibility alone changed everything, because if the trial truly ran as long as predicted, it would become one of the most watched celebrity legal fights in recent memory. Las Hari said he might end up spending significant time in New York City to cover it in person, signaling just how serious and high-profile the case had become. He then moved into one of the headline developments, the judge preparing potential jurors for a lengthy commitment. According to reports, the court was warning jurors in advance that this would not be a quick 2-day celebrity dispute. Instead, they should expect a 3 to 4 week courtroom process, possibly longer depending on motions, witnesses, delays, and legal arguments. Las Hari joked that the judge was basically telling people to pack lunch and prepare for a marathon. Behind the humor, however, was a clear point. This case was no small matter anymore. A month-long federal trial means both sides are ready to go all in. Another major topic involved Blake Lively's claims that her businesses had suffered because of what she described as a smear campaign connected to the dispute. Las Hari challenged that narrative directly. He argued that evidence appearing in filings suggested some of those business struggles may have begun long before any alleged online campaign. According to him, financial and management concerns had already existed, meaning it would be difficult to simply blame every failure on reputational damage tied to the case. He said this would likely become a major point during trial because jurors tend to respond strongly to evidence that either supports or weakens claims of financial harm. He also noted that the judge may soon unseal additional court documents, something that could dramatically change public understanding of the dispute. With trial day approaching, every motion, every filing, and every sealed exhibit had become fuel for online debate. Las Hari described the situation as wild and said everything was accelerating quickly. From there, he began reviewing coverage from various outlets, including one article claiming Blake Lively's make-or-break trial against Justin Baldoni could drag on for a month and possibly end with her receiving zero damages. Las Hari emphasized the importance of that phrase, zero damages. It meant jurors would be specifically asked whether they could remain impartial even if the outcome was no financial award for Blake. In practical terms, the court wanted to remove anyone entering with automatic sympathy or bias. He explained that this is standard jury selection strategy in major civil cases. Courts want people who can hear facts and apply law rather than react emotionally to celebrity status. The trial, expected to take place in federal court in New York, stems from Lively's allegations connected to the film It Ends With Us, directed by Baldoni. Las Hari noted that many original claims were no longer heading to trial, narrowing the case significantly. He argued that some reporting still framed the dispute too broadly and failed to reflect how much had already been trimmed by court rulings. He then discussed jury selection itself, known legally as voir dire. With humor, he imagined the kinds of pop culture questions potential jurors might face. Do you love Deadpool? Do you have strong opinions on Gossip Girl? Have you followed celebrity gossip accounts? While exaggerated, the point was serious. Selecting an unbiased jury in a case involving globally known names would be difficult. Almost everyone has heard of Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, or related headlines. Many may already hold opinions. Las Hari admitted he had delayed making travel plans because celebrity lawsuits sometimes settle at the last minute. Yet he also recognized that neither side appeared interested in backing down. He described the dispute as a game of pressure, with each party waiting to see who would blink first. In his view, Justin Baldoni had already invested heavily in defending himself and likely saw trial as necessary for reputation recovery. As for Blake Lively, Las Hari argued there may now be no easy off-ramp. Once accusations become public and legal warfare intensifies, walking away can feel impossible. He then explained why Baldoni might feel compelled to fight aggressively. According to Lasshari, as long as these allegations remain unresolved, Baldoni's future as a visible actor or director could be damaged. In Hollywood, accusations alone can freeze careers. If he were to admit wrongdoing, even partially, Lasshari believed it could end major opportunities. He reminded viewers that Baldoni had already faced professional fallout and public scrutiny. In that sense, Baldoni was not merely defending a lawsuit. He was defending his future reputation, earning power, and ability to move through public life without stigma. Lasshari framed it bluntly. Many people would fight hard if they believed false narratives threatened to define them forever. Whether one agrees with him or not, he insisted Baldoni likely sees the case through exactly that lens. Attention then shifted to reports that Blake Lively's legal strategy may invoke comparisons to the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. Lasshari found that fascinating but also deeply flawed. He argued the two cases are structurally different. Depp-Heard centered around intimate abuse allegations, audio recordings, injury claims, and defamation arising from deeply personal accusations. By contrast, the Lively-Baldoni conflict centers more around workplace allegations, retaliation claims, PR narratives, and online perception. To him, using Depp-Heard as a parallel risked misleading jurors or the public. Still, he acknowledged why the comparison might be attractive. Depp-Heard became the defining celebrity courtroom event of the digital era, with TikTok clips, YouTube commentary, live streams, memes, and global public engagement. If Lively's team argues that online narratives poison public opinion before trial, Depp-Heard provides a recognizable example of social media influencing reputations. Lasshari then touched on another media topic. Reports that Blake Lively would not attend the Met Gala. Whether invited or not, he believed skipping the event would be smart strategy. If jurors in New York are everyday working people sacrificing weeks of time for court service, seeing one party parade through one of the world's most extravagant red carpet events in diamonds and couture could create bad optics. Even if irrelevant legally, perception matters. A plaintiff seeking sympathy while publicly celebrating luxury can create tension. He explained that jurors are human beings. They notice status, wealth, and tone. A glamorous public appearance days before trial might not help someone arguing emotional distress or financial losses. In his view, any competent PR team would advise minimizing flashy appearances. Lasshari next discussed legal filings in which Baldoni's side reportedly pushed back against attempts by Lively's team to revive or reshape dismissed claims. He summarized their position as essentially saying, the court already considered these arguments and rejected them. Repackaging them with new wording changes nothing. He read portions referring to California connections, employment negotiations, filming locations, and human resources arguments. Much of it was technical legal language, but he simplified the takeaway. Defense lawyers were arguing that many claims lacked sufficient factual basis. He highlighted one recurring issue. If alleged misconduct happened elsewhere, simply negotiating contracts from California or filming a few later scenes there may not establish the legal nexus required for certain claims. He stressed that jurisdiction and venue questions can matter enormously even when boring to casual viewers. Lasshari also questioned retaliation allegations. He asked why anyone involved in promoting a major film would intentionally sabotage its star during rollout. In his view, if the studio needed Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and celebrity support to maximize publicity, attacking her would make little business sense. While acknowledging that bad decisions happen, he said motives matter and jurors often ask whether alleged actions were rational. Returning to the Johnny Depp comparison, Lasshari emphasized again that Depp-Heard involved direct accusations of violence and a clean defamation structure. Here, by contrast, much of the public debate revolves around whether negative online commentary came organically from public reaction or from coordinated efforts. He believed that distinction was huge. If criticism arose because audiences disliked interviews, press behavior, or public statements, then blaming a rival's hidden campaign becomes harder. He then joked that if Lively truly wanted to compare the matter to Depp-Heard, maybe cameras should be allowed in court. Lasshari clearly hoped for televised proceedings, though he understood that was unlikely. He said he intended to report from outside the courthouse if possible and cover each day's developments depending on logistics and audience demand. According to him, the broader significance of the trial lies in how internet narratives now shape celebrity conflicts before juries ever hear evidence. In older eras, a lawsuit might unfold mostly in newspapers. Today, millions of people choose sides through short clips, commentary channels, fan pages, and viral edits. By the time opening statements begin, many have already decided guilt or innocence. Lashari said he tries to remain fair, while also sharing his belief that Baldoni appears to be the innocent party. He stated he does not believe Baldoni led any smear campaign. Instead, he suspects Baldoni's team hired crisis management simply because they expected powerful celebrity figures around Blake Lively to come after him publicly. In that theory, the PR machinery was defensive rather than offensive. He used an analogy. Imagine hiring security for a mansion, only for supporters to show up and guard the gates themselves. In other words, Baldoni may have prepared professional defenses, but public sentiment against Blake Lively did much of the reputational work without needing coordination. Whether accurate or not, that was Lashari's interpretation of why online backlash spread so quickly. From there, he pivoted into Blake Lively's beverage ventures, particularly Betty Buzz and Betty Booze. He explained that internal business discussions reportedly showed profitability concerns independent of any alleged smear campaign. Distribution success and strong launch numbers do not always equal sustainable margins. Many brands sell widely but still struggle due to costs, competition, logistics, or marketing burn. He noted that management recommendations reportedly included winding down certain mixer products, focusing resources on higher-margin alcohol lines, and shifting toward mocktail offerings. To Lashari, that suggested ordinary business restructuring rather than catastrophic collapse caused by internet negativity. Companies pivot all the time. Still, he recognized that Lively's team may argue brand reputation matters heavily in consumer markets. If public image declines, products can suffer. That argument may resonate somewhat. But if internal records show pre-existing financial concerns, defense lawyers would likely use them aggressively. He summarized the core issue simply. If losses were already coming, can they be blamed on the lawsuit narrative? That question, he said, could become more important than celebrity gossip fans realize. Lashari returned to the approaching trial date. New filings, sealed records, business disputes, PR accusations, celebrity optics, and a potentially month-long jury process had all transformed what once looked like a Hollywood feud into a major courtroom spectacle. With New York soon becoming the center of attention, he promised much more coverage ahead. Lashari continued by focusing on one of the most intriguing developments in the case. The possibility that the judge could unseal a large number of documents before or during trial. He explained that sealed filings often contain financial data, internal communications, strategy discussions, confidential exhibits, and private information both sides would prefer remain hidden. But once a case reaches the courtroom stage, judges sometimes decide transparency outweighs privacy concerns. If material is relevant to evidence presented before a jury, courts may require it to become public. According to Lashari, this mattered because both camps had obvious reasons to want certain facts concealed. He suggested one likely concern involved wealth and financial scale. If jurors fully understood the enormous resources available to celebrity litigants, it could shape how they view damages claims, hardship arguments, and emotional appeals. In New York, where many working people struggle with rent, transit costs, and everyday expenses, the contrast between ordinary jurors and multimillionaire celebrities could be impossible to ignore. He described a hypothetical juror sacrificing several weeks of normal life, earning modest compensation from the court, eating poor cafeteria food, and listening to wealthy stars argue over reputation and business losses. Whether fair or unfair, Lashari believed some jurors might react negatively to that contrast. This is why, in his view, teams often fight hard over what financial details the jury sees. He then read from a court note suggesting the judge was inclined to unseal materials in full unless parties could specifically justify continued secrecy. To Lashari, that meant vague claims of embarrassment or inconvenience would not be enough. If either side wanted something hidden, they would need concrete legal reasons. From there, Lashari shifted into a broader discussion about how public opinion has become inseparable from celebrity litigation. He said old-school legal strategy once focused mainly on motions, witnesses, and settlement leverage. Today, however, there is a second battlefield: the internet. Narratives are built on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, fan pages, podcasts, gossip sites, and clipped interviews. Millions form conclusions before seeing a single exhibit. That reality is why the Depp-Heard comparison keeps resurfacing. Lashari repeated that while the facts differ dramatically, the media ecosystem is similar. Both disputes became less about one courtroom and more about who controlled the public story. Once memes, reaction videos, and commentary channels explode, it becomes nearly impossible to rewind the conversation. He believed Blake Lively's team may try to argue that she became the target of a digitally amplified pile-on, one so strong it harmed her image before facts could be tested. Baldoni's side, meanwhile, would likely respond that public criticism emerged naturally from Lively's own behavior, interviews, business issues, and visible public choices. In short, one side may argue manipulation, the other may argue accountability. Lashari said jurors may not need to understand every online detail, but they will need to grasp a central question. Did reputational damage come from a coordinated campaign or from organic public reaction? That issue could decide how damages claims are viewed. He then returned to business matters involving Betty Buzz and Betty Booze. Lashari explained that celebrity consumer brands often look glamorous from the outside but face brutal economics behind the scenes. Distribution costs, shelf placement fees, marketing spend, manufacturing contracts, returns, promotions, and retailer pressure can eat profits quickly. A product can appear everywhere and still lose money. He said many viewers assume celebrity names guarantee success, but the beverage market is crowded and unforgiving. For every breakout hit, many brands fade quietly. If management records showed concerns about sustainability, then shutting down or restructuring parts of the business may simply reflect standard corporate reality rather than legal fallout. Still, he acknowledged that a famous founder's reputation can influence sales. If public sentiment shifts sharply negative, some consumers may stop buying. Therefore, the truth may be mixed: existing business weakness plus reputational headwinds. But in court, mixed truths become battles over percentages, timing, and proof. Lashari then zoomed out to the stakes for both sides. For Blake Lively, a courtroom loss could damage credibility and strengthen critics who already believe the case was overplayed. For Justin Baldoni, losing could be professionally devastating. Even winning may not fully restore years of stress, expense, and reputational uncertainty. Trials often leave no true winner, only a formal result. He said many viewers underestimate the emotional toll of litigation. Lawyers consume time. Headlines distort nuance. Friends choose sides. Careers pause. Family life gets invaded. Every text message or email may become evidence. Even wealthy people feel pressure when their names become daily debate topics. Lashari then discussed his own plans for covering the trial from New York. He said the ideal setup would involve arriving early each morning, live streaming outside the courthouse, and giving audiences the atmosphere in real time. He wanted viewers to see the lines, cameras, reporters, legal teams entering, and the rhythm of a major public case. To him, that kind of ground-level reporting offers context headlines cannot. He imagined giving morning updates from the courthouse steps, then returning later with summaries once proceedings ended. If witnesses testified, motions were argued, or surprises emerged, audiences would get breakdowns the same day. He admitted it would be demanding, especially balancing legal coverage with broader entertainment and political news, but he seemed energized by the challenge. Another part of his plan involved speaking with people who actually sat in the courtroom. Since many celebrity trials are not fully televised, first-hand observers become valuable sources of tone and detail. How did witnesses come across? What was juror body language like? Which moments changed the room? Those human observations often matter as much as transcripts. Lashari also joked about food sponsorships, city routines, and the strange excitement of New York mornings filled with commuters rushing to work. Beneath the humor was a real point. big trials become civic events. They create mini ecosystems of journalists, creators, legal analysts, tourists, and curious locals gathering daily around one building. He then reflected on how his own platform had grown because of sustained coverage of headline-making disputes. As public interest increased, so did demand for constant updates. He mentioned expanding content schedules and even separating comedy material from legal news content because audiences now followed him for different reasons. What began as entertainment commentary had evolved into a hybrid media role. Returning to the lawsuit, Lashari said timing now matters more than ever. The closer a trial gets, the more pressure rises. Settlement talks often intensify late. Last-minute motions can reshape evidence. Public statements become riskier. Every strategic decision is magnified. He would not be shocked, he said, if one side still tried to avoid trial. Yet he also recognized that after months of filings, accusations, and media warfare, compromise becomes harder. Pride, principle, reputation, and sunk costs can keep cases moving forward even when settlement would be simpler. He described the dispute as one where neither side may feel able to retreat. If Blake backs down, critics may frame it as weakness. If Baldoni settles without vindication, supporters may say he was forced into compromise under a cloud of suspicion. In such environments, litigation becomes symbolic as much as legal. Lashari again emphasized the role of jurors. Unlike internet commentators, jurors must follow instructions, hear admissible evidence, and deliberate collectively. They may know little of the online chaos that can reset a case dramatically. What seems obvious on social media can look weak under evidentiary standards. Conversely, claims mocked online can appear stronger when documents and testimony are presented properly. That is why celebrity legal battles are often unpredictable. Fame creates noise, but verdicts come from quieter rooms. He then offered one final thought on public perception. People often choose heroes and villains too quickly. Fans defend favorites. Opponents assume guilt. But trials exist because stories are contested. While he has his own leanings, Lashari acknowledged that court can still surprise everyone. As the show neared its end, he thanked viewers who had stayed through the long discussion and reminded them that coverage would continue multiple times per day as new filings dropped. He encouraged subscriptions and support, making clear that the coming weeks could become one of the busiest periods his channel had ever covered. He closed by returning to the bigger picture. This was no longer just a celebrity disagreement tied to one movie. It had become a collision of fame, business, image management, internet culture, and legal accountability. Whether it ended in settlement, verdict, or mutual exhaustion, the case would likely be studied as another example of how modern celebrity conflicts now unfold across both courthouses and screens. And with trial day approaching fast, Lashari said everyone should prepare. New York was about to become the stage for one of the year's most watched courtroom dramas, and Coravanta would be there to follow every twist. Thanks for watching. Subscribe my channel.